Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, I just got back from Philadelphia. I was going to definitely had conducted an interview with another platform. And I'm bringing that up because last night in Philadelphia, the rain was, the rain was coming down. It got up to like 52, miles an hour with the wind. So it was a bunch of wind and rain. And it was not only in Philadelphia, but all that stretched all the way to New York City as well when I looked at it on the weather report. So I'm saying all that because of this story right here, what we're going to cover here about the migrants in New York City with old Mayor Eric Adams here. So when that storm came through last night, which caused, a lot of wind, some flooding, he decided to have a bright idea. Now, the migrants was at a, tent shelter that they built. So what Eric Adams decided to do was to remove the migrants out of the tent shelter to take over James Madison High School. But I want you to hear what happened to the actual students at the school and why a lot of parents and even people in liberal New York, why they're so upset. Let's go ahead and roll these clips.
Tensions running high outside James Madison High School in Brooklyn Wednesday morning, where nearly 2,000 migrants spent the night braving the storm.
Our kids should not be used. The school should not be used. It's a sectionary for the learning. Our kids supposed to be here feeling safe and be able to learn.
The city's decision to relocate migrant families from Floyd Bennett Field to the high school didn't sit well with parents and local officials who say the administration put the needs of the migrants ahead of their children.
Migrants never went through the metal detectors, right? So
absolutely.
We have no idea what these people might bring to the school and what's inside the school.
More than 80 buses pulled up to James Madison High School Tuesday evening. The family slept in the auditorium chairs and on the floor with blankets. By 4:15 this morning, they were all returned to Floyd Bennett Field.
The shelter operations at James Madison High School, managed by Health and Hospitals, were nothing short of remarkable. They supplied essentials like baby formula, baby bottles, hot food, snacks, water, and blankets.
But some parents claiming they were never notified of the move, and what outraged them even more, the fact that students stayed home today and learned remotely.
None of the teachers signed up for remote learning, and the ones that did, from other parents that I heard, said good morning, posted the assignments, and just left.
I think it's disgraceful. Just think about it. You're a parent in the Bronx. Was it Brooklyn or the Brooklyn? You're a parent in Brooklyn. You probably got a lot of single moms who are the breadwinners, so they've got to work during the day. Your kids are supposed to go to school, and then someone tells you, sorry, your kids have to stay home. Why? Was there some type of real significant storm or some emergency? Was there a flu outbreak? Well, why are they having to stay home? They're having to stay home because the state government is commandeering, or the city government is commandeering the school to house illegal aliens. You talk about putting Americans last. You're having these kids, you're depriving these kids of in-person education to be able to house people that don't have a right to be here to begin with. That's Joe Biden's America in a nutshell.
Now, we know from the pandemic that remote learning for students did not work. I'm going to tell you personally, my little girl, it was so detrimental to her that she had to play so much catch up when she went back to in-person learning. So we have learned with that situation that these kids can't be doing no remote learning. Now, you can work from home on a job, adults, but kids need in-person instruction. So Eric Adams, and which is the Democrat mantra of open borders, decides they've taken over all the luxury hotels, right? They took it over. They've trashed the place, trashed it. They're literally turning New York into a third world country, literally, about what they're doing in that city. So the luxury hotels wasn't enough for them. So since they filled up all the luxury hotels that they can fill, now they coming after your school. Now the schools are paid by the taxpayers, especially those who are homeowners that pay school tax for their children to go to that school. They didn't talk to the parents about this. They didn't say anything. In the dead of night, they made this decision. They tell the students, 2,000 or so, you know, how many students that go to that school, hey, you stay home. Disrupting what parents got going on. Let's call it what it is. There are parents that need their kids to go to school, of course, for education, but also at the same time, they work. And the school, you know, is a good place for them, right? So you take parents away from their job to figure out, okay, what I'm going to do with this child. What's going to go on? Then, as you heard in the news report, the teachers didn't even show up to remote learning because the students, during the time of the pandemic, the students wasn't learning anything. They were blowing them off. They was not showing up. So the teacher's like, man, forget this junk, man. You think the teachers wasn't frustrated by that as well? So now you got to do remote learning because of the migrants. Now, as you heard, yeah, they took them out of there at 4:30 or so a.m., but it is, to me, how I look at it, it is a test run. Because, see, in Chicago, for instance, they was putting them in abandoned schools. New York put them in an active school. They're going to start taking your schools, and then when they finish taking all your schools, they're going to start putting them in your malls. And then if they can't put them in your malls, they're going to start putting them in your stadiums. And then when they finish putting them in your stadiums, don't be surprised if he starts saying, hey, well, we need New Yorkers to kind of, you know, take in some of these migrants because they can't be on the streets. Because it's about to be a bad cold front come through here in the next week or so, next week. What they going to do with the migrants then? All the situation with the migrants. This was all created by the Biden administration. He believes in an open border policy. And now students got to be kicked out of their school. I don't care if it's for a day, a week, it don't matter. The fact is, you done it. I've never seen in the history of this country students being removed from their school so you can let people that come across the border because they chose to, they're economic migrants. They're not here because they fled war or anything like that. They're not here for that. So you take out students who need to be learning, push them out for economic migrants that chose to come here. They chose it. They chose to come here. They didn't want to stay in Mexico and work in Mexico. They didn't want to work in Chile. They didn't want to work in Costa Rica. They didn't want to work in Colombia. No, after all them different countries had offered them help, they said, no, I'm going to come to America because America got a leader over there that's going to prioritize us over the citizens. That's what's going to happen. And that's why everybody's constantly coming. And then you got Biden. See, I was going to cover what he said at that Mother Emanuel Church, but this kind of took precedent over that. He goes to Mother Emanuel talking about racism. Man, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear no talk from no politician right now about no racism. If you're not going to actually put no laws on the books of that anti-black hate crime bill, just shut up. Just shut up about racism at this point. I don't need to hear that from you. Black people will talk about racism when it comes up and we'll deal with the issue and problem. I'm so sick and tired of you Democrats trying to use racism as a way to try to trick my people to vote for you. This is the result of voting Democrat. Having your children taken out of a school and say, you go remote learn because the migrants is more important than you American kids that your American parents pay taxes for at that American school. If y'all sit up here in this next election in a few months and y'all go out there and vote Democrat, it's not just the president. I'm talking about Democrat all the way down. I'm talking about Democrat from your Congress people, your Senate, your city council, your mayor, your all that. Listen, these Democrat cities got more crap going on in them. Think about it. You're supposed to be the party of you against racism and white supremacy, but yet black people suffer more racism and white supremacy in the Democrat-run city. I thought we supposed to be suffering that in the Republican cities and Republican states every day. Y'all sit up here and try to claim every Republican person is like freaking Klan member. But it seems like you look at New York, how black people are incarcerated in New York. Now, check this out. that same storm that was in Philadelphia and New York last night that I saw, I was like, oh my God, right? They were homeless black Americans in New York, and Eric Adams didn't do a freaking thing for those homeless black folk in New York. Didn't do a thing. Or not just homeless black folk, homeless Americans too, right? Outside of black folk. He didn't do nothing for the homeless Americans, but he made sure the migrants, they better not even get wet. Let's get them into this school. But homeless New Yorkers who are citizens of this country, who were born and raised in this country, that maybe had some issues and problems, happened to them and why they end up getting homeless, that they can stay out in a bad storm with 50 some odd mile an hour winds and rain and flooding. They can stay in it, but migrants, oh no. They make sure to put them in a school and tell the children, you stay home because you're not important. See, the Democrat Party does not prioritize American citizens. American citizens are actually the last people they're going to look at. They're more worried about the migrant. And like I said plenty of times before, they have to be getting some sort of kickback from somebody to be this gung-ho about this situation. Because, y'all, this doesn't even make sense. This latest move about taking kids out of school and say, you go remote learn because they're going to be here. Y'all, this is an escalation of this stuff. I'm telling y'all, you go out and vote Democrat in November. Go ahead if you want to. They already fear-mongering too, because I got to cover that. Michelle Obama and all that fear-mongering she's doing, that got on my last nerve when I saw that video from her. Now they already fear-mongering, right? You can fear-monger all you want, but there's no amount of fear-mongering that's going to make people of all communities say, that mess in New York, that is not okay. That's really the stick that broke the camel's back. Listen, you even have a lot of liberals are saying, hey, man, all right, listen, I support immigrants and all of that, but now y'all doing too much. You even have liberals saying this. Democrats are starting to say y'all doing too much with this stuff now. This way past just being nice and welcoming. Y'all are really trying to take over with these people. These people come over here with their hands out. Gimme, 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 gimme. We just had covered on the last live stream of African Diaspora. They're commandeering trailers that's sitting there, breaking in them and making homes, and they can't get them out of there. They breaking all kind of laws, and yet let an American citizen break a law. They got Rikers Island for you, but for them, they can do whatever the hell they want to do. Y'all better wake y'all behind up. All you American citizens, they talking about voting, you better get out, make sure not to vote for them Democrats. I'll tell you that much. Now, if you're going to sit it out, cool with me. As long as you don't give a vote to Democrat. If you're going to vote for Republicans, cool with me too. You want to vote third party, fine with me too. At this point, voting for Democrats is really harmful to the country at this point. They are anti-American people. They don't like the citizen when they prioritize. Listen, to sit up here and have 300,000 people come across the border last month. That is insane. We don't have a system anymore of laws. That's basically a form of anarchy that you don't have to follow no laws. And the Biden administration talking about they're going to spend $35 million to try to reach out to black voters. Are you crazy? You crazy. This situation is harming your so-called black voters. So why would black people come out and vote for you? I'm just trying to figure that mess out. But this Democrat Party, man, I've never seen them do things like this. In the past, they like whatever. But they go from not doing nothing for black folks to just hurting everybody now. They're literally hurting the American citizen now. I don't see how anybody that got some sort of common sense would say, okay, I'm going to go vote for Biden because I want 4 more years of that. 4 more years of it. American people have to give the Democrats a referendum at the polls. They got to do that because y'all think we could sustain 4 more years of what Biden and them is doing to this country? Do you seriously think that we could sustain that. I'm telling you, they're trying to turn America to a third world country, them Democrats. I'm telling you, that's what I believe. I believe they're trying to turn America into a third world country because in third world countries, inflation is through the roof, gas prices through the roof. Nobody can afford to stay anywhere. Nobody can afford to buy a home. There's no affordable housing. People do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? Like the Biden administration and the Democrats are literally trying to turn America to a third world country. And the people are going to have to say no. Y'all, I'm telling y'all better stop it at the polls before telling you get this guy 4 more years. You're going to be like, oh my God, I don't even know America no more. This place is horrible. You know, so many American citizens leaving this country every day. They're leaving. They say the food's horrible. We don't have free health care. You know, the air quality is horrible. Everything is horrible because of these politicians. But we got to keep an eye on this situation, man, because they're taking this migrant situation way too far. It's going too far. And what is the Democrats' agenda at the end? Because it looks like to me, they're trying to harm the American people and they very blatant about it.